Welcome to our presentation and demonstration today of IDSync's Active Directory to Active Directory integration software. The product was designed to help MSPs and IT service providers who have a trusted advisor relationship with their customers and are managing their customers' Active Directories. It enables and eliminates the effort and overhead and security risk by easily eliminating broad user privileges or shared passwords for the service provider and thus eliminating unaccountable changes to the user directory. In short, it is a quicker, more secure, more effective way for a larger organization to manage identity access and identity changes to their customers' Active Directory. The whole intent of the product is to reduce the risk of identity management for both the service provider and their customers. It lowers the cost of IT support as it pertains to Active Directory, especially with their larger and more regulated, more security-conscious customers. In short, we think Active Directory to Active Directory software provision and synchronization can provide IT service providers with cost and competitive advantages. So the agenda for today is a short slide deck to introduce you to the product, a live demo to show you how it works, and then a Q&A for wrap-up. So you might be asking, what problem does the software solve for an MSP? And it's really the problem of administration of their customers' Active Directories and the practice of sharing passwords for privileged accounts. The problem for an MSP is that they are conflicted by the need to balance providing a highly secure service at competitive rates. And these two objectives compete with one another, and in the name of simplicity, many IT service providers have opted for the lower cost approach to managing their customers' Active Directories by simply sharing passwords and accounts. However, this competes against their customers' need for a secure AD environment. And while password sharing is okay in some cases and really unavoidable for some IT support tools, when it comes to Active Directory, it's a bridge too far that puts both the customer and the MSP at higher risk than either would like. So consider the case of a level 1 help desk engineer versus the needs of a more senior network engineer, one needing vastly more rights than the other. Or consider the case of an engineer turnover and the need to easily and quickly add or disable the accounts in multiple customer environments at the same time. Consider the risk to both the customer and the MSP, the liability of potentially disgruntled employee using access to a customer records inappropriately. And then finally, consider the hard data from the analyst firm Forrester, who estimates that 80% of corporate security breaches result from privileged identity compromises. In short, a loss of access control is a major risk for many IT service providers and their customers. All the potential result of sharing privileged passwords resulting in unauthorized access to highly regulated and sensitive data. The IDSync AD to AD software offers real-time integration between the MSP's AD environment and their customers' Active Directory. It offers the MSP the ability to push IT support engineer user information and rights from their AD source to their customer's target Active Directory, all without any software needed on customer premises. The MSP can populate and or update one or many customers with engineer user data and rights, enabling each engineer their own login, password, and rights appropriate for the role they have with any specific customer. The software is built on IDSync's time-tested AD integration engine, and it allows the MSP to populate their customer's AD directly from their own user interface. The real benefit is reduced administrative costs, faster update of customer environments, and offering lower security risk for both the customer and the MSP. Just imagine that as an IT service provider, you may have 5 engineers and 50 customers, or perhaps 50 engineers and 500 customers. The problem's the same. You add a new engineer to the VoIP support group, and all customers with VoIP then need to be touched. You need to find all VoIP accounts and log in and change every customer. Or a support employee perhaps in the exchange group quits. Same thing, you have to find all the security groups where that employee has privileges and either change the password or delete their account. A new customer perhaps needs to have a group of engineers added to multiple security groups with different administrative rights. So you have to prepare a list with relevant rights and log in and make all the changes in your customer's AD. Maybe you have a new level 1 help desk person that requires access to AD but with very limited rights. So you have to add this person to all customers. In short, for all these cases, a fair amount of time and effort is required to get these tasks accomplished in a timely way. So just imagine if you could get this done easily and quickly. IDSync represents the ability to get this done quickly from the convenience of your Active Directory users and computers interface. Then at the opposite end of the spectrum, just imagine if all your engineers shared passwords and login credentials. The potential for security disaster that might occur for your customer and or your firm is enormous. So it's simply not worth the risk sharing accounts and password, especially considering the revenue opportunity to turn best practices into higher win rates. The ability to say we are a high quality, security oriented IT service firm and mean it pays off in both customer respect and customer wins. So once you realize the problem with password and right sharing, this really moves the question along. Can you really have administrative simplicity and high security levels at the same time? Many think not, have prioritized simplicity over security risk. But with the right tool, one can have both. By using best practices, a service provider can not only do a better job for their customer, they can be more competitive, and we argue actually win more deals by being able to say, not only do we preach security as a best practice, we also provide it. We have better tools, and let me show you how it works. The use of the AD to AD software tool is a fast, efficient, and secure method to manage engineer login and rights in customer domains. It enables the provisioning, synchronization, and enablement, disablement of one or many IT service engineers at the same time, while providing the ability to target a single or many customers, organizational units, or security groups as needed, all without the need to manually and directly log into the customer's Active Directory. As a consequence, because of this ability for fast and secure management of user identity and rights, it's no longer necessary to share passwords among many service engineers in the name of administrative efficiency. This is an example of the actual operations of the software and how it works, making it easy to populate a customer's Active Directory with IT support engineer identity information. Just to briefly walk you through the steps. In step 1, you need to select a user from Active Directory users and computers database, and then you assign the support engineer to a security group that is then mapped to one or many customers that need to be populated with that user's credentials and rights. Once that is done, just hit the OK key, and the user will be provisioned to the customer's Active Directory and inserted into a security group with the rights appropriate to their support role. From that time forward, the support engineer record and data will remain synchronized with the customer's Active Directory until a change in staffing needs occur. Should you need to disable or change an engineer's assignment, you can remove them from a security group and or move them to a different one during a new or different customer assignment. The diagram in this slide is an example of an MSP with multiple customers showing it push user data from their Active Directory source to their customers' Active Directory target environments. When a new engineer is added, the technique is to just drop the engineer into a security group having rights suitable for their role for any specific customer. Once the engineer has been added to the security group, IDSync then detects the change in that security group and then provisions that user to one or many client environments. Changes in engineer assignments from one customer to another or from help desk to network engineer duties work in a similar fashion. Move the engineer to the security group with defined rights needed and pointed at the one or many customers you want to affect. Any changes in the security group are automatically detected by IDSync and then pushed and synchronized to the customer's Active Directory. So instead of having to log in to each and every customer AD every time an engineer's assignment or rights have been changed, it's easy to manage those customer updates directly from the MSP's Active Directory interface by simply adding or moving a record to a security group. IDSync then auto-distributes the engineer data and rights and optionally their login password to the customer's Active Directory, providing the engineer with a single set of login credentials for all customers' Active Directories. Here we list the entire range of activities that allows one to provision and synchronize one or many engineers with one or many customers. Managing all the changes from the MSP's standard AD user interface that the IT service provider is already using. So fast, simple, secure, and efficient operations is what we were striving for. It can be used to position the service provider as providing higher levels of security at lower cost because of the use of the best practices and best tools. In short, no more password sharing is needed to accommodate MSP cost issues, and also it reduces the risk and liability for both the service providers and their customers. In short, a win for all. The IDSync AD to AD software product is one of in a portfolio that focuses on identity access management issues and the secure integration of Active Directory as a source of data with other applications as a target for user identity information. For example, we have integrations with the leading professional services tools, both ConnectWise and Autotask, and also integrations with Office 365, Azure AD, with Ingram Micro, the largest IT distributor on the globe. Then with Hosted Exchange, and also products that allow one to manage AD user records from a browser, being able to provide secure access to Active Directory by limiting rights and data available to the various IT staff and or end users that might be using the tool. All these integrations to Active Directory use the same proven AD integration engine, reading and writing to Active Directory using the same secure techniques, simply having different target applications for the user identity information. This user data includes normal info about the user to include name, email, phone, rights to which the user is authorized, and then optionally passwords for a single password user experience. In any case, building on the history IDSync has, integrating between AD and other applications, we added just one more connector using secure LDAP that focused on integrating AD in one domain with an instance of AD in another. This then allows the service provider to be able to focus on populating their customers' AD with service engineer users without ever having to leave their local network environment and going through the typical RDP, VPN, AD login process, customer by customer. In summary, almost every IT service provider has a need to provide their employees with access to their customers' Active Directory, and every provider that does needs to decide on the following: who has access to the AD identity database, what rights and data access do they have when they get there, administratively, how is one going to manage the add change to lead process, and then how are you going to provide your more demanding customers with the data security required by the modern regulatory environment, including Sarbanes-Oxley, HIPAA, GDPR, NIST, GLBA, of which most of your customers are regulated by at least one of these regulatory requirements. IDSync has a solution to these problems that not only reduces the customer risks associated with providing access to Active Directory and their corporate data, it also helps you with the liability issues of being an IT service provider and helps you win more and better customers by being able to demonstrate and easily adhere to the best practices pertaining to identity access management.